Hi everyone, it's Vice Cherry here. Today we are going to talk about why do people keep complaining, especially related to games. So of course I am somewhat guilty of it myself. It's not like I never complain, but sometimes the reasons are maybe different. I will basically let you know my point of view about why do people complain and why do I sometimes complain and so on. So let's get started. First of all, I think many people complain because they have stress, anxiety, they feel frustration, and venting it out probably makes them feel better. Even if there are no changes after the venting, it can still help you relieve some stress by being able to express yourself, express your thoughts, release what's inside you so that you can feel better once it's released. And for me, it definitely helps. So I guess that's the main reason I am doing it from time to time because obviously most of us, I think even maybe all of us, do feel some kind of stress, anxiety, frustration, or whatever at some point, and it just helps me to deal with it. Even if, let's say, I'm complaining about a game, something about that game is making me feel those negative feelings, maybe. But after I express myself, after I release whatever I have inside me, I do feel better after doing it, even if there are no changes. Because if things are just building up, then yeah, it's usually no good long term. Another reason I think people like to complain is because they have too high expectations, especially if it's a newly released game. Maybe the game has been even overhyped because some social media influencers or whatever hyped the game up. They only saw trailers or whatever that, of course, show exciting parts of the game. Then they are approaching it with possibly a bit unrealistic expectations, even though a game can be still good, even very good. But because their expectations are way too high, they are basically going to spot some mistakes, flaws, or whatever that they didn't, I guess, expect to experience. And this kind of things usually make them probably complain a lot because the game doesn't meet their expectations, is not what they expected in reality. I think there is no game that can satisfy everyone. There is one very weird thing I have noticed is that many players seem to have quite, I guess, weird expectations. So they download the game, install the game, start the game, and what they experience is not what they expected. And they start complaining, saying that this should be like this should be like that. How come I'm not being considered? Sometimes people are saying my race is not being considered in the game. My location is not being considered in the game. My hairstyle is not being considered in the game. My religion maybe is not being considered. I mean, so many things. People tend to think that games need to consider everyone. Games need to adjust to everyone. But, games are all different, and there is no single game that can meet everyone's expectations. I think it's completely normal that I can't find some games amusing. I can't enjoy some games, even though, let's say, it's an MMORPG. I typically like MMORPGs, but it doesn't mean I like all of them, right? There are still certain MMORPGs that I like and certain MMORPGs that I don't like. For example, Black Desert Online has action combat versus, let's say, Final Fantasy 14. I mean, Final Fantasy 14 has tap target combat. That's totally not my thing. So of course it makes sense that I'm not going to play Final Fantasy 14 and start complaining about combat, how the game, in my opinion, is so bad and so on. I mean, some people like tap targeting more than action combat. It doesn't meet my preference. But if so, then I shouldn't be playing it if some core elements are not for me or whatever. If there are not enough things to like about the game, then I should just move on and play something I like to play. Oh, I mean, for this reason, I am playing Black Desert Online instead of many other MMORPGs because I do think the combat is better and many other things too. But my point is just that some people enter a game thinking that it should meet everyone's expectations. It should somehow please everyone. But that's basically like Mission Impossible. People are so different. There is not a single game that can meet everyone's expectations, and that's it. There is nothing to do about it. Have to accept the reality and move on if a game is not for you. Not stay there, keep complaining, giving bad feedback, and so on. If it's not for you, just let it be. I understand that if it is for you, but it is a bad game. Okay, I understand there is a reason to leave bad feedback, so to say. So let's say, again, if we are talking about a combat system in a game, and let's say there is a newly released game that has also action combat similar to Black Desert Online, but it's way worse. So in that scenario, I understand it's a much more recent game and they are having the same combat system as Black Desert Online, but it's way worse. And I'm not saying way worse when it comes to preference. It just doesn't function well. A lot less effort has been put into it. And you know, a game that's released many, many years later should definitely even do better, not worse. So in this kind of scenario, I do understand if people are complaining, feeling frustrated or whatever. But if the game just isn't for them, then I think it's better to move on. So I just mentioned Black Desert Online a few times. And when it comes to Black Desert Online, there is definitely one thing that I don't like. It has heavy RNG systems. You know, if you keep losing, if you are below average when it comes to RNG, which means many other people are doing better and saving up time to make progress just because they have way better RNG than you. Yeah, this kind of things I don't really like, and it can get a bit frustrating, you know, if you see many people constantly being way more lucky than you, then, you know, you just know that you have to, in a way, work a lot harder to reach to the end point, to reach goals or whatever. And because it's a game, then, you know, just having RNG that takes away from your fun because you are not lucky, it doesn't feel so good. So yeah, it can make people complain. And while I do like Black Desert Online a lot in many other aspects, this is definitely something I don't like about it. But because the other aspects are a bit more important to me, then for this reason I'm still playing it. But from time to time, it does make me complain a bit. So I have had some situations where, let's say, I complained about my bad RNG, and then someone said in my guild or whatever that, oh, don't feel bad, I'm doing even worse than you. This kind of thing I can't really understand. Why would I feel better just because others are doing worse? I mean, obviously, I'm not thinking that I have the worst RNG in the game. It could be possible, I don't know, but I hope not. But my point is that I definitely don't feel better just because there are people who are doing even worse than me. Maybe in this comparison, someone would think that why do I feel worse because people are doing better than me? Well, it's more like I just don't feel good because people are doing bad. I mean, okay, you could say that then I should feel good because other people are doing well. Well, I do feel happy for them, but in the end, I'm playing for myself. And of course, I want to do well too. So in that scenario, I do care about how am I doing, but my point is that I definitely don't feel better just because some people are doing worse than me. So on this topic, there are some people who do feel more motivated when they see other people fail, when they see other people doing worse than them. And also, there are people who like to see other people succeed. So, in general, I'm definitely someone who likes to see other people succeed. Makes me feel that I also want to be like them. I want to catch up or whatever. There are definitely people who like to see other people fail, like to see other people do worse than them, and it makes them feel better about themselves. I have met such people in my life, and yeah, it's actually common enough, as sad as it is, I think. I mean, okay, it's their own personal feeling. It is what it is. It doesn't necessarily affect others who are actually failing unless they are saying that, oh, I'm feeling good because you also failed. I mean, I don't know how should it feel, but my point is that there are definitely people who are like this, and yeah, I don't really understand this kind of mindset. I mean, theoretically, I have an idea how it works, but because I don't feel the same way, then it's a bit difficult to understand why someone would get motivation from seeing other people do worse than them. And also on this topic, something very similar related to it is that there are many negative people who feel better by saying bad things to others. Basically, people who are maybe trying to bring down others with themselves. And it can be companies, game developers, or whatever, players, and so on. So by complaining a lot, saying bad things about others, they feel better. Instead of concentrating on how to improve their own situation, they may, I don't know if they even think or not, but they may just act based on feeling that maybe it's easier to bring others down to the same hole, the hole that keeps them in their state where they are dissatisfied, where things aren't good for them. And when they feel that others are around the same level in the same hole, then all of a sudden they think, oh, life is better just because others are also there. So yeah, this is something I don't understand and it doesn't work for me. But anyway, there are people like this, and especially it's very evident in online games. So let's say League of Legends, very popular game, many people know, and it is known to have many toxic players. And there are ranked matches. Well, no or not, I don't know, but anyway, there are ranked matches, and there are different ranks. So let's say just as numbers 1 to 10, 10 is the best, 1 is the worst, and there are some players who are, let's say, on level 1 or level 2 playing with others, 5 people in the team, random people maybe, and sometimes they feel like because they are losing a game, because they are doing bad, because their rank is low, others are to blame for it. So they are always, oh, my teammates are so bad, I'm losing only because of my teammates, and so on. And in a game, they tell bad things to others, insult others, and so on. I'm not talking about any productive dialogue where they are maybe giving constructive feedback or whatever, but people who are literally toxic towards others. And this can make definitely others feel a bit drained, like resentful or whatever. It's not a good feeling to play with people who are constantly blaming you, and it can actually ruin your game totally. And anyway, there are people who like to say bad things to others. They think others are to blame for their suffering, for their misery, or whatever. And somehow they don't see themselves objectively at all. That maybe they are playing in the low ranks because they are also around the same level. They don't tend to see it this way. They think that, well, it must be because of others. It has nothing to do with me. But let's be honest, those who are close to level 9 or 10, those high ranks, they work their way up. And they also started with those low ranks, but they reached the high ranks because they are actually better. They can maybe carry others or whatever. They can perform better. And anyway, it's kind of pointless to waste your time on excess typing. And there are so many people who keep typing throughout the game, constantly typing, oh, you suck, you're bad, blah, 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 you can't play at all, quit this game, uninstall, so on. And while they are typing, how does it affect their own gameplay? Because quite often they are typing when they are supposed to be doing something in the game. So actually, it's just ruining their own gameplay plus other people's gameplay who may react to it and so on. It just makes things worse. And worst of all, it's just a game. And people are supposed to be playing games for fun. But if the environment is constantly toxic, you always feel some negative feelings and so on. It's quite difficult to enjoy a game. I don't know, it's quite narcissistic behavior in a sense, quite selfish to think that I am so good at this game, but everyone else is bringing me down, and by saying so many bad things to them, I'm the winner in the end. Such a weird mindset. Difficult to understand, but I guess this is how it is. We are all different, and to some extent, I guess it cannot be helped. But the most important thing for everyone to keep in mind, unless you are having a match for $1 million or whatever, then it's just a game, and every match or every round or whatever, it's for your own experience so that you can improve. If others are not doing so well, this is something where you can learn from. You can learn how to perform even better so that maybe you can even carry all your team. Just stop blaming others and try to improve your own situation. And eventually, if you do like this, you will get better. You will increase your ranks and so on. And in the end, less complaints and better time in games. And a few more things that I want to say. So, one thing is that some people are just experiencing a burnout and they may not even notice immediately. So, this is something that actually happened to me too. I had a burnout, for example, in Black Desert Online. That's not the only game where I experienced it, but I didn't notice it immediately. I noticed it after some time when I realized that my behavior changed. I started seeing so many things much more negatively than I used to. I started enjoying the game less. And yeah, I started complaining a lot about every single detail and so on. And definitely my enjoyment level dropped. But once I realized it and I took a step back, so to say, became more casual, I guess, to be able to enjoy the game again, it actually helped me a lot. And I was able to start enjoying the game again and complained way less than before. So it's definitely something to pay attention to. And probably final thing is social media. How social media can affect your time in games, how you perceive the games. So quite often people like to create some hate videos in social media, start some hate trains, because somehow there are so many people who are using social media who are looking for such things, who are looking for drama. Again, people who are feeling better by talking down to others. Is it games? Is it game companies or whatever? They just want to complain. They want all that negativity, but they can just feel better because it's not about them. It's about others. This is something that social media is quite good at in sense that the many people understand this kind of thing sells, this kind of things get views, and as sad as it is, it brings results. And it's better to surround yourself with better things that give you a good reason to feel good about yourself, not to feel good about yourself just because others are doing worse than you, just because there is someone else to blame, just because there is someone else to look down to. I think it's just miserable lives if some people think these kind of things are good. I mean, of course, sometimes there is a good reason, but I'm saying some people really just like to hate on others. And such environments just bring no good results. I mean, negativity feeds negativity, and in the end, it will just keep growing and growing. And if you are surrounded by negativity, this will be just something you will notice the most. It will just not help you improve your own situation at all. So, yeah, when it comes to complaining and such, while it can be a good thing to sometimes vent out your frustration to relieve your stress, because to some extent, sometimes complaints are justified, but yeah, at the same time, everything has a limit, and you should keep this in mind. Most importantly, you should concentrate on yourself to improve your own situation when it's possible, and eventually things will get better. That's about it for today. See you next time. Take care. Bye.